Welcome to another episode of The Rania Show. I'm your host, Rania, and today, have you ever felt like you knew what you were meant to do with your life, but because of the conditioning and the opinions and the projections of the people around you, your support system, people that care about you and want what's best for you, but the way that they show it is by telling you, oh, that doesn't sound reasonable, or that sounds like it's going to be really tough. You really should stick to a job where you work for somebody else and you get a biweekly check and then you save up for retirement. And owning a business is hard. Becoming the CEO and founder of your business is hard. You need money. You have to work long hours. And it's like, thanks, but no thanks. And then other people's opinions and other people's perspective of how you should do things starts to play a big part in the things that you want to pursue. And then all of a sudden, you start to minimize the things that you want. And you start to ask yourself, oh, do I really want this? Or am I just doing it because, it's going to make me feel a certain way about myself? And then it's like, can I really help people? Or is that just a pipe dream? And you start to create all these stories and these beliefs about yourself and about the things that you want. And you start to minimize them until you diminish them and they no longer exist. And then you stick to the status quo and you form yourself in line with everybody else's idea of what your life should be. And then you start to feel like you're dying inside slowly every day until there's really nothing left. And then, in order not to focus on the slow death that's happening internally, you start to use all of your energy and your focus on other people, fixing their lives, helping them with their lives. And because you want what's best for them. So your intentions are to support them, to guide them, to cheer them on. And they all move on with their lives. And here you are, still asking yourself, why didn't I pursue the things that I wanted? Why am I so good at helping others but can't help myself? So, why are you only helping others and not helping yourself? Why are you not taking your own advice and pursuing the things that you want out of your life? Because they didn't just randomly pop up, they've always been there. You've always wanted them since you can remember, but you're just too scared. You were too comfortable in the idea of following the generations that came before you and staying in line and doing what society thinks you should do because it's safe. But in all reality, with everything that's happening in the world right now, is it really safe? Because There are some things in life that are inevitable. And one of them is your purpose. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. What you want is already there. There's a version of you that's already accomplished those things. And the more action you take towards the things that you want, the closer that version of you is going to get. And think about when you're 88 years old and you're just sitting there and you're looking out and you can see the clouds above you and you're in this rocking chair and you're just rocking back and forth. And the next generation and the generation after that asks you, what was your life like before I came along? What story do you want to tell them? Do you want to tell them, I got to be what I wanted to be? And even though I was scared, I still set out to do it and I made it happen. And I created a ripple effect because of what I did. Other people started to see that they can do it too. Or do you want to say things like, yeah, I don't want to talk about it. There's so many things I regret. I wish I would have done things. That's why you got to go out there and do those things because I was too scared to do them. Look at me now. Personally, I prefer the version of me telling them, I set out, I did those things, I made them happen, and now you got to do the same for yourself. Because leading by example, you know, that's that's what creates the ripple effect. And when you do the things that you want and you make them happen, you're showing proof that it's possible. Even though it's scary, like me posting podcast episode every single week to the point where I started feeling like an imposter, or I started, getting these blocks of like, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to say? And if I show you the befores of this episode, I think this is like my fourth time pressing record because I started getting in my head and I let other people's opinions and lack of support rattle me up to the point where I'm creating these beliefs and these stories of like, oh, I have writer's block. Oh, I don't know enough about this. Oh, what am I going to say? I don't have enough clarity. How do I say it? How do I articulate what I want to say and how I want to help people? And I'm still feeling a little like, okay, this is what I want. This is how I want to help. How do I stretch it out, into solid steps, into creating something that provides the tools and the resources that I had that have helped and supported me? How do I break that down? Because it's different when you go through the process and then you're just like at the end of it and you're like, okay, so now how did I get here again? Because you were so inside of the experience, you were so inside of the moments that led you to where you currently are. And then sometimes you have to backtrack and be like, okay, so what did I do? What worked for me? How can it work for others? But I'm still here. I'm still showing up. And God, it took me years to do that because I let other people's opinions of what I should be doing and how I should be doing it affect me, and minimize the things that I wanted to do because I was scared to do them. And yeah, not living that life anymore, especially with everything that's happening in the world right now and feeling powerless and feeling like things are out of my control. This is in my control. Showing up and talking to all of you and recording and showing up once a week by releasing these episodes, that's in my control. Spreading awareness for what's happening, that's in my control. Coming up with solutions to the problems, that's in my control. Because everything that we experience has come from 8 generations before us and will pass on to the next 8 generations. And everything that's happening right now, it's when does that clock set for reset? So if I can help even one person by showing up, by doing this, by talking about it, then that will make me feel whole and complete. Because then that'll create a ripple effect. And that person that I touch, or that person that can resonate with what I'm saying and can take that and create something out of it, that creates a ripple effect. Because then in turn, someone else will benefit from it. And then someone else will benefit from it. And then healing starts to happen. And then it starts to create a different course. And when you heal and when you do the work, you're not only healing yourself, but you're healing the 8 generations before you and the 8 generations after you. So please, whatever it is that you want to accomplish in your life, that you might feel like it's too late or you're too old, you're too young, whatever story you keep telling yourself, tell yourself a new story and ask yourself, where did that story come from? When did you start believing that? Because once you sit down and you ask the question of where did that come from, not only will you be shocked, but you will start to make progress towards the things that you want. So please get curious, ask the questions, be interested in who you are and fascinated by everything that comes forth. And feel free to ask any questions. I am here to help you to the best of my ability. I hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you for tuning in to The Rania Show. I'm your host, Rania. Bye.